99% of people don't realize this one spot causes that senior odor. Here's how to fix it fast. Hey there! Can we talk about something a little uncomfortable, but really important? Picture this: you're at home, relaxing in your favorite chair, when your grandchild pops by for a visit. You open your arms for a hug like always, but this time, they pause. They hesitate. And then, out of nowhere, you hear, "Grandma, why do you smell kind of weird?" Oof. That hits deep, doesn't it? That's exactly what happened to Nancy Miller, 68 years old. She's been clean, tidy, and well kept her whole life. But in just one sentence, her little granddaughter flipped her world upside down. And here's the thing: Nancy couldn't even smell it herself. She didn't feel any different. But suddenly, she noticed her granddaughter didn't sit as close, didn't cuddle up like before. And it broke her heart. If you're nodding along, maybe because something similar happened to you or someone you care about, then trust me, you're not alone. This isn't something people talk about often, but that old person smell? It's real. It's common. And most folks don't even know they have it. The good news? There's something you can do about it. And it's a lot simpler than you think. In this video, I'm going to break it all down: why this happens, what science has to say, and the small changes that can make a big difference. Plus, I'll share some real stories from real people, and tips that have helped thousands of seniors feel fresh, confident, and connected to the people they love. So if this topic hits close to home, or if you know someone who might need to hear this, stick with me. Watch till the end, and if you find this helpful, do me a favor, hit that like, share it with a friend, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you real talk like this every week. Alright, let's get into it. The science behind the senior scent. 1. Aging and its effect on body odor. Alright, so let's dig into what's actually going on here, because this whole old person smell thing, it's not about not showering enough. It's not about being careless. It's way more complex than that, and honestly, it's not your fault. See, as we get older, our bodies change in ways that most of us never really talk about. We hear a lot about wrinkles, gray hair, stiff joints, but body odor? Not so much. And yet, it's one of the most common things older adults quietly struggle with. So here's the deal: when we're young, our bodies produce a steady amount of sweat, not just when we're hot or nervous, but throughout the day. Sweat, believe it or not, actually plays a good role. It helps flush out toxins, cool us down, and kind of acts like a natural cleanser for our skin. It keeps things moving and breathing. But aging throws a wrench into that whole system. Starting somewhere in your 60s and sometimes even earlier, your body starts dialing back how much sweat it produces. Some studies suggest that we lose over half our sweat gland activity by the time we reach our 70s. That means less sweating, less flushing, and less protection from all the stuff our bodies naturally get rid of. You might be thinking, well, hey, less sweat. That's not so bad. No more pit stains. Right? That's what Robert Evans thought too. Robert's 73, a retired mechanic from Ohio. He told me once, back in the day, I sweated like a pig. I mean, even walking across the shop floor, I'd be dripping. Now? Nothing. I thought that was a blessing. Turns out, it's not. What Robert didn't realize, and what most people don't, is that sweat actually helps prevent odor by washing away bacteria and toxins on the surface of our skin. When there's less of it, everything starts to stick around longer. And that's when bacteria start to have a field day. Here's the science part. But I promise it's simple on our skin. There are natural oils and compounds that bacteria love to munch on. One of those is called 2-nonylphenol, and this little compound is the main culprit behind that musty, slightly greasy smell people often associate with aging. Now, 2-nonylphenol isn't found in younger folks' sweat, only in older adults. It starts showing up in your 50s and gets stronger with time. It forms when our skin's fatty acids mix with oxygen and break down. The real kicker? 2-nonylphenol is really hard to wash off. Regular soap and water don't always cut it. So even if you're showering every day, using deodorant, wearing clean clothes, you might still notice that faint odor lingering. And worse, you might not even notice it yourself. That's because our noses get used to our own scent. But the people around us? They pick up on it, especially those with sharper senses like kids. And that's where the embarrassment can creep in. Maybe someone made a comment. Maybe your spouse quietly opened a window. Maybe you noticed people leaning away instead of in. Whatever it is, it leaves a mark. You start second-guessing everything: your hygiene, your habits, your health. But let me pause right here and say something important. This does not mean you're dirty. This does not mean you've done something wrong. This is biology. Pure and simple. And once you understand what's happening, you can actually do something about it. Let's go back to 2-nonylphenol for a second. This compound is oil-based and stubborn, so you need more than a regular bar of soap to break it down. Specialized soaps that include persimmon extract or green tea oil have been shown to neutralize this compound much more effectively. These are becoming more available now, and we'll talk more about those in the solutions section later. But beyond soap, there are other changes you can make that can have a real impact. For starters, your diet plays a role. Diets high in animal fats and processed foods can actually increase the production of 2-nonylphenol. On the flip side, eating more plant-based meals, staying hydrated, and including antioxidant-rich foods like berries, leafy greens, and nuts can help your body manage this natural process better. Your clothes matter too. Synthetic fabrics like polyester tend to trap odors more than natural ones like cotton or bamboo. And if you tend to rewear jackets or sweaters without washing them as often, and let's be honest, we all do sometimes, those odors can build up without you noticing. Even the way you store your clothes can affect how they smell. Closets with poor airflow or dampness can make that musty scent cling to your clothes, even if they are clean. Now, back to Robert. Once he understood what was going on, he didn't feel ashamed anymore, he felt empowered. He switched to a persimmon-based soap, added more greens to his meals, and started airing out his closet more often. Within a few weeks, even his daughter commented that he smelled like his old self again. And just like that, his confidence came back. Because when we feel clean, we feel close. We reach for hugs. We sit a little closer. We laugh without worrying who's sitting next to us. And that's what this is really about: connection. Smell may seem like a small thing, but it affects how we show up in our lives. How we relate to others. How we feel about ourselves. So if you've noticed a change in how your body smells, or if someone gently pointed it out, it's okay. You're not alone. And more importantly, there's something you can do about it. We're going to get into all the practical tips in the next part, everything from products that work to lifestyle tweaks that make a difference. But for now, just know this: your body may be changing, but you're still you. You still deserve to feel fresh, confident, and embraced by the people who love you. To how sebum changes with age, and why it affects the way we smell. Alright, let's keep the conversation going. We've talked about how sweat plays a role in body odor as we age, but there's another major player here that deserves the spotlight: sebum. If you're not familiar with the word, don't worry. Most people never think about it, but it's with us all the time. Sebum is the natural oil your skin produces. Think of it like your skin's built-in moisturizer. It helps keep your skin soft, protects it from drying out, and acts as a bit of a barrier against outside elements like dirt and bacteria. We all produce sebum, and that's a good thing. In younger years, it keeps the skin looking supple and healthy. But like everything else in the body, sebum changes with time. Here's where it gets interesting and kind of sneaky. As we get older, especially after the age of 50, the composition of sebum begins to shift. It's not just how much oil your skin makes, but what's in it that changes. Scientists have found that aging skin starts to produce higher levels of a particular chemical compound called 2-nonylate, yes, the same stuff we mentioned earlier. And one of the big reasons it appears? You guessed it, changes in sebum. To put it simply, the sebum of an older adult contains different fatty acids than that of a younger person. These fatty acids react with oxygenate process called oxidation, and when that happens, 2-nonylate is created. And let me tell you, 2-nonylate has a very distinct smell, slightly greasy, kind of grassy, maybe even a little sour. It's not necessarily strong, but it lingers, and once it gets into fabrics, it can hang around for days, even weeks. One of my patients, Betty Davis, she's 65, lives in upstate New York, told me something that really stuck with me. She said, "My grandkids won't sit on my lap anymore, and I don't know why. Is it me?" She was genuinely heartbroken. And you know what? That question, "Is it me?" says so much. Because it's not just about the smell. It's about feeling unwanted, invisible, or like something about you is pushing the people you love away. And that feeling? It cuts deep. The truth is, Betty keeps herself clean. She showers every day, uses lotion, wears perfume, even changes her clothes more often than most people her age. But despite all that, her grandkids were pulling away. Not because they don't love her, but because kids are brutally honest. They pick up on things, especially smells that they don't understand, and they react to them without thinking about how it makes someone else feel. And that's where 2-nonylate becomes more than just a scientific term. It becomes a barrier between generations. Now let's be clear, 2-nonylate is not a sign of poor hygiene. It's a sign of a body that's aging. That's it. But since this compound isn't produced in younger people, it's just not something most folks are aware of until one day, it shows up, and they are blindsided. Let's talk about why it's hard to fight. Because sebum is oil-based, 2-nonylate doesn't wash off easily with regular soap and water. Traditional soap is made to break down surface dirt and bacteria, but it doesn't do much against oxidized fatty acids. That's why you might notice that even after a long shower, that subtle odor clings to your skin, or worse, your clothes. And speaking of clothes, sebum and the smell it carries gets into fabrics. It especially loves places where your body naturally produces more oil. The necklines of shirts, underarms, backs, and even the collar of your favorite cardigan. Over time, even freshly laundered clothes can start to hold onto that scent, like it's part of the fabric itself. So what can you do? First, know that you're not alone. This happens to millions of older adults every single day, and most of them are just as surprised and confused as you might be. But once you know the source sebum and 2-nonylate, you can start to work smarter, not harder. Let me break it down. 1. Use the right soap. Like we said earlier, not all soaps are created equal. Soaps with persimmon extract, green tea, or even certain charcoal-based formulas are designed to target and neutralize 2-nonol. These ingredients help break down the fatty compounds that regular soap leaves behind. A simple switch in body wash can make a big difference. To exfoliate gently. Dead skin cells trap oil. If you're not regularly exfoliating, especially around the back, chest, and underarms, you might be giving 2-nonol more surface to cling to. Use a soft exfoliating mitt or sponge a few times a week to keep your skin fresh without irritating it. 3. Rotate your clothes more often. I know how tempting it is to wear a sweater 2 or 3 times before washing it, especially in cooler months when you're not sweating much. But for those items that are close to your skin, washing them more frequently helps prevent odor buildup. And if you really love a particular item, try soaking it in vinegar or baking soda before washing. It helps break down the oil residue better than detergent alone. 4. Check your laundry routine. Fabric softeners and scented detergents can sometimes mask odors temporarily, but they don't always remove the source. Look for laundry boosters that are specifically designed for odor elimination. These can help lift out sebum-related smells from your clothes instead of just covering them up. 5. Diet and hydration. Remember how we said the content of your sebum changes with age? Well, some of that is influenced by what you eat. A diet high in processed foods and animal fats can make things worse. Drinking more water and eating foods rich in antioxidants like berries, green vegetables, and whole grains can actually help your body balance sebum production and reduce the oxidative process that creates 2-nonol. 6. Air out your skin and clothing. Let your skin breathe when you can. At home, if it's warm enough, wear lighter fabrics or go sleeveless for a bit. And with clothes, don't fold and store them immediately after wearing them. Let them air out first, even if just for a few hours. Back to Betty. Once she started using a persimmon soap and added a natural fiber undershirt to absorb oils before they got to her outer clothes, she noticed a huge difference. Her grandkids climbed back into her lap without hesitation. And that moment? It meant everything to her. Because again, this isn't just about smell, it's about connection. And sometimes, a few simple changes can open the door to feeling closer to the people you care about. 3. The science of dry mouth, and why it affects so much more than breath. Let's talk about something most people don't like to bring up: dry mouth. Now, if you're over 60, chances are you've already experienced this more than once. That sticky, parched feeling in your mouth. Maybe it's first thing in the morning or midway through a conversation. You reach for water, but it doesn't really help. And worse, sometimes, you start to notice an odor on your breath that makes you second-guess yourself every time you open your mouth. This isn't just about hydration or forgetting to brush. It's actually a natural part of aging. By the time we hit our 60s, our bodies start producing significantly less saliva, and I'm talking a lot less. Studies show it can drop by over 50%. That's huge. Saliva isn't just about keeping our mouths moist. It's one of our body's most underrated defense systems. Here's what saliva does for us. It washes away food particles after meals. It neutralizes acids from plaque bacteria. It helps protect tooth enamel and maintain oral pH balance. And yes, it plays a major role in keeping our breath fresh. So, when you're not producing enough saliva, all of those helpful functions get interrupted. Food particles stick around longer. Bacteria thrive. Acids linger. And over time, that buildup creates the perfect storm for bad breath, gum issues, and even infections. Linda Harris, 69, once told me something that really hit me in the gut. She said, "My mouth's always dry, and I smell it when I talk. It makes me shy around my grandkids." Let's just sit with that for a second. She can smell it herself, which means it's strong. And the result? She holds back. She stops laughing loudly or telling stories the way she used to. And over time, that silence builds a wall between her and the people she loves most. But here's what makes this even harder. Most people don't even know dry mouth is causing it. They assume it's just old age or poor hygiene, when in reality, it's a physiological change, quiet, gradual, and completely normal. That doesn't mean it has to be accepted, though. Far from it. Why we don't notice our own smell? Here's another big question: why can't we smell ourselves changing? It's something George Carter, a man in his 70s, grappled with painfully. He was meticulous. The kind of guy who irons his shirts even when he's just staying home. Every morning, he showered, shaved, and kept his house so clean you could eat off the floor. But one day, when his son had some friends over, George walked by and overheard a comment that knocked the wind out of him. "Man, that old guy smell is strong." He didn't even realize the words were about him until he saw the group glance his way and laugh quietly. George didn't say a word. He just went back to his room and stayed there. The next time his grandkids visited, he didn't come out. Not because he didn't love them, but because he didn't want to risk hearing those words again. That one moment, it changed how he saw himself. And you know what's heartbreaking? George didn't smell anything. He had no idea. And that's not because he was in denial. There's actually a scientific reason for this. Our brains are wired to adapt to familiar smells, especially our own. It's called olfactory fatigue or nose blindness. If you've ever walked into someone else's house and noticed a strong scent, good or bad, but they seem completely unaware of it, that's nose blindness at work. When your body slowly starts to smell different over years, your brain registers the change once, then kind of tunes it out. It becomes the new normal to your senses. But for someone who hasn't seen you in a while, or someone with a more sensitive nose like a child, they notice it immediately. Why it hurts so deeply. Now, let's be real. This isn't just about smelling fresh. This is about identity. When a person reaches their 60s, 70s, or 80s, they've lived decades. They've raised families, built careers, survived heartaches, and celebrated joys. They deserve to feel confident in their skin. But when odor enters the picture and they have no idea it's there, it chips away at that confidence. Suddenly, a hug feels risky. A conversation feels stressful. A visit with grandkids becomes something to prepare for, instead of something to look forward to. It's not fair. But the good news is, you can take control of it. Simple, real solutions for dry mouth and odor control. Let's talk about what actually helps. No gimmicks, no expensive products, just practical steps that anyone can try. 1. Stay hydrated, but the right way. Yes, drink water. But sipping it constantly throughout the day works better than chugging a big glass every few hours. Chewing on ice chips can also stimulate saliva production. 2. Use alcohol-free mouthwash. Traditional mouthwashes often contain alcohol, which can dry out your mouth even more. Instead, go for mouthwashes made specifically for dry mouth. Look for ingredients like xylitol or aloe vera. 3. Chew sugar-free gum or lozenges. This helps stimulate saliva naturally. Xylitol-based gums are especially good. Not only do they boost saliva, but they also fight cavity-causing bacteria. 4. Avoid mouth-drying medications when possible. Talk to your doctor. Many common prescriptions, like antihistamines, antidepressants, or blood pressure meds, list dry mouth as a side effect. Sometimes, alternative options are available. 5. Invest in a humidifier. Especially in colder months or dry climates, the air can make a dry mouth worse. A bedroom humidifier can keep the air moist and help reduce that sticky feeling in the morning. 6. Brush your tongue and rinse often. The tongue holds onto bacteria like a sponge. Gently brushing it every time you brush your teeth can make a world of difference. Add a rinse midday if needed, especially before visits or conversations. 7. Speak openly with family. I know this one might feel awkward, but it can also be liberating. Letting your kids or grandkids know that you're aware and proactively managing it changes the narrative. It goes from something shameful to something empowering. We'll dive into hormonal shifts, medications, and even diet in the next section, but here's what I want to leave you with for now. This issue, the smell, the silence, the dry mouth, the shame, it's not your fault. And more importantly, it's not permanent. It's manageable. And once you understand it, you can take steps that make a real difference, not just in how you smell, but in how you feel around the people you love. So if this message resonates with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, do me a favor, share this video, give it a like, and let's help more folks feel seen, understood, and empowered. The solution: how to eliminate the smell. Alright, now that we've talked about why this happens, let's get into the good stuff, what we can do about it. And let me be the first to tell you, it doesn't require fancy sprays, expensive soaps, or some magical product off late-night TV. In fact, what I'm about to share with you is something I've personally seen work for thousands of seniors I've worked with over the years. And no, we're not talking about hours in the bathroom or completely overhauling your lifestyle. This is a simple, down-to-earth, 3-minute routine that focuses on just 3 things. And if you can commit to this daily, you'll not only notice the difference, you'll feel it. Step 1. Hydration, the foundation of everything. Let's start with the simplest and most powerful change: drinking enough water. Now, I know this might sound basic, but you'd be surprised how many people, especially as we get older, don't drink enough. Our sense of thirst dulls with age, so we're less likely to reach for a glass of water unless we're really parched. But here's the deal: your body needs water like a car needs oil. Without it, everything slows down. Toxins stay in your system longer, your skin becomes drier, and your natural detox system, your kidneys, liver, and sweat glands, can't do their jobs properly. One of my longtime patients, Margaret Adams, who's now 72, used to suffer from persistent body odor even though she was clean as a whistle. We tried a bunch of things, and eventually I asked her, "Margaret, how much water are you drinking?" She looked at me and said, "Probably 2 cups a day." I had her start drinking a glass of warm water first thing every morning, then sip throughout the day, aiming for 6 cups total. A month later, she came in smiling. "My grandkids hugged me yesterday without making a face," she told me. It might sound silly, but I almost cried. So, take it from Margaret: start your day with water. Even just 6 to 8 ounces in the morning, followed by small glasses throughout the day. It adds up, and it matters more than you think. Step 2. Light movement and sunlight, nature's double cleanse. Now let's talk about a secret weapon that most people completely overlook: sunlight and gentle movement. You don't need to go on a 5-mile hike or join a gym. I'm talking about a 10-20 minute walk around your block, or even around your backyard if that's more doable. Ideally, do it in the morning sunlight when the rays are softer and safer. Here's why it works. First, when you move, even just a little, your body produces a small amount of sweat, and that's actually a good thing. Remember earlier we talked about how seniors sweat less, which means toxins aren't flushed out as effectively. a short walk can kickstart that process just enough to help your skin detox naturally. Second, the sun has natural antibacterial effects. It helps kill bacteria on your skin, and that's important because bacteria are the main culprits behind odor. Fred Taylor, a 71-year-old with arthritis in his knees, told me once, "Doc, I can't walk far, but I sit out in my backyard for 15 minutes every morning." That sun helps more than you'd think. Even just sitting in the sunlight with your sleeves rolled up and a little fresh air can be a game changer. So don't underestimate the power of the sun, and as simple walk bonus points if you do it after your morning glass of water. It's a great way to start the day. Step 3. Smart showering. Focus on the hidden zones. Here's where we get a little more specific. Most people think, I shower every day, so I'm good. But if you're not cleaning the right spots, bacteria can still thrive, and the odor can linger. There are 3 main areas where odor-causing bacteria love to hide. 1. Skin folds, under the breasts, behind the knees, in the groin area, under the belly, anywhere skin touches skin. 2. Hairy areas, your scalp, armpits, and yes, even the back of the neck. 3. Sweaty zones, feet, lower back, underarms, and lower abdomen. These spots are warm, often moist, and perfect breeding grounds for bacteria. So when you shower, don't just do a quick rinse. Grab a soft cloth or loofah, nothing too harsh, apply a mild, unscented soap, and gently scrub these areas. Don't scrub too hard, weary cleaning, not sanding down wood, but do be thorough. And always dry these areas well afterward. A little talc-free body powder can help, especially in the summer. When I explained this to my friend Joanne, 68, she said, "Oh, you mean the spots we ignore?" And that's exactly it. Most of us were never taught how to wash these areas properly, especially as we age. But once you know, it becomes second nature. Small lifestyle tweaks that add up. Once you've got that 3-minute routine locked in, you can take it a step further with a few lifestyle and diet changes. These are simple, low-effort habits that can boost your results big time. Eat antioxidant-rich foods. Tomatoes, berries, and leafy greens help reduce oxidation in the body, which not only slows aging but helps fight internal sources of odor. Cut back on coffee and alcohol. I know that morning cup of joe feels sacred. But caffeine and alcohol dehydrate you, and dehydration makes odors worse. Try switching to barley tea or herbal infusions a few times a week. Up your fiber intake. Foods like oats, brown rice, flaxseed, and veggies help sweep out waste from your system more efficiently. Less waste equals fewer toxins equals less odor. Avoid spicy and greasy foods in the evening. They tend to linger in your system and can affect body odor the next day. Just 3 minutes a day. That's all it takes to start feeling like you again. And hey, if this video helped you or made you feel seen in any way, would you do me a small favor? Hit that like button so more people like us can find this. And if you know someone, a friend, a neighbor, maybe even a family member who might need to hear this too, share it with them. You never know who might be struggling silently. Let's help each other age with dignity, comfort, and confidence, because we all deserve that. Thanks for being here with me. Let's keep the conversation going, and I'll see you in the next one.